There's nothing quite like fire to add a little extra wow factor to a cocktail, or anything for that matter. And I've got 6 easy fire tricks that'll make you look like an absolute cocktail master. Stay tuned. What's up guys, Sam James, Barprints.co, and in this video we're talking cocktails with fire. I'm going to show you 6 easy tricks as well as give you a couple ideas of cocktails that you can use them with. Now if you're new to the channel and you're looking to take your cocktail game to the next level, don't forget to hit the subscribe button right down here, and don't forget to click the notification bell to make sure you never miss a new video whenever they come out. Now right off the bat, these aren't just fire tricks solely to satisfy your inner pyromaniac. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. But these are tricks that are also going to help you elevate the flavor profiles of the particular cocktails that you're serving. And all you're going to need to get started with most of these is either a reliable torch or a book of matches. Now, naturally, I wouldn't be teaching you anything super dangerous, but since we are quite literally playing with fire, as always, just make sure you're being safe and using your common sense whenever you're approaching any of these hacks. Now, first of our easy fire tricks is our smoked glass. Now, smoking is a great way to enhance the flavor of a cocktail, and I love it because from a guest presentation, from a guest experience standpoint, it stimulates a bunch of senses. The sight, sounds, smell, taste, everything all together really makes for a really great cocktail. And all you need for this one really is, of course, your reliable torch, something to burn, and your glass. Now, a good rule of thumb when you're looking for something to pair with your cocktail, or particular the thing that you'd be smoking to pair with your cocktail, I would say when it comes to something like the darker spirits, a rum, a whiskey, a brandy, things like that, you want to introduce smoke, stick on the sides of the woods or spices like cloves, cinnamon, pimento, things like that. And then when it comes to some of the clearer spirits like a gin or a vodka, then I would lean more on the herbal side. Your dried thymes, basils, sages, things like that. Now for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to be using a cinnamon stick. We're going to be pairing it with an old fashioned. Now all you do now is take your cinnamon stick, place it on your surface that won't burn, and go ahead and apply the torch to it. Once it starts to glow and you really start to see the smoke building up, cover it with the glass. Once it's done, the smoke is going to start filling the glass, then you go ahead and prepare your cocktail. After you've done that, simply remove your glass, drop your ice in there, and then pour the cocktail over it, and you're ready to serve it. That is the smoked glass. Quick, simple, easy fire trick number 1. Now, just in case you don't know how to make an old fashioned, you can check out this video right here, show you how to make the perfect one. I'll put the link in the description for this video and for all the other videos that I'll be mentioning in this video. Wow, I said that a lot. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. Once you're finished watching this, check the link in the description. Everything I talk about throughout, you can find it down there. Hack number 2. Now, next up on our list is the use of the atomizer. Now, for this one, all you're going to need is, of course, your atomizer, a very high-proof spirit, like a high-proof rum, whiskey, absinthe, things like that. I personally love to use a 151 rum for this type of thing. And then, of course, some matches. Now, for this one, you can pair it with, depending on which high-proof spirit you use. Like if you're using the high-proof rum, for example, this will go great in a between the sheets cocktail or a sidecar or something like that. If you're using the absinthe, that'll go great with like a Sazerac, for example. But essentially, here's what you're going to do. You go ahead and prepare your cocktail, and then right before you serve your cocktail, go ahead and grab your atomizer and give your glass a quick spritz. Nice little rinse to coat the interior of the glass. Then strike your matches, place it gently into the glass, and then take your atomizer again, give it another spritz. The liquid, of course, passes through the flame, gives a nice flash, which not only is visually stunning, but the ignition of the spirit gives this kind of burst of flavor and aroma that will complement the cocktail that you're pouring in there really well. Next up on our list is the flame zest. And for this one, all you're going to need is, of course, a orange zest and a book of matches. And just in case you're wondering to yourself, why is it that you're going the route of using the matches versus saying a lighter? Well, the reason for that is because the burn from the matches, when the oils from the zest flows through, gives more of a natural flavor versus the use of a lighter, which because of the butane gas that fuels it, you'll impart some of that butane flavor onto your cocktail, which obviously is something you don't want. Now we're going to be pairing this one with a Negroni. If you're not familiar with how to do that, you can go ahead and check out this video right here to learn how to make the perfect Negroni. You're going to cut the orange into nice little discs. Once you've done that, strike your match, and then you're going to take the flame and warm the skin of the zest. This will help to loosen and release the oils that are in the zest, help it easier come out. Hold the match to the cocktail, squeeze the zest, and it'll give you a nice flame, imparts a bit of a burnt orange kind of flavor to it as the oils pass through the natural flame. And that is your flame zest. Now, number 4 on our list is our nutmeg / cinnamon sparkle. And I term it that way because you could either use nutmeg or cinnamon and you create a similar effect. Now, all you're going to need for this is a hollowed out half of a lime, your torch or a book of matches, whichever you prefer, some high proof spirit, and then of course either your cinnamon or your nutmeg. Here's what you do. Go ahead and prepare your cocktail. Now this works great with rum cocktails, tiki cocktails. You can check out these right here for some ideas of times when I've used it myself. And once you've prepared your cocktail, go ahead and take that hollowed out half of a lime and flip it inside out. It's going to create a nice little pool for you to pour your 151 in, and then you're going to sit that on top of your cocktail. Take your torch or your matches and go ahead and light the rum on fire, and then you're going to take some cinnamon or nutmeg, whichever you prefer, and go ahead and sprinkle it over the flame. Creates this great flash, this great sparkle, and it also produces a really nice aroma when the spice is ignited with the flame. And that cool sparkling effect brings us to the end of our cinnamon / nutmeg sparkle. Next up is our candied sugar garnish. Now you may have seen this trick on Instagram or some other places, whatever. I personally love it because it makes for a great flavor and the preparation aspect is really cool for the guests. Now all you're gonna need for this one is a lime, some sugar, some bitters in a pipette bottle, and I obviously say use the torch for this one because I can't see of any possible way for you to do this with a book of matches. Here's what you do for this one. Take your half of a lime and place it in something sturdy. I always use my jigger. And then you're going to take some sugar and evenly spread it over the top of the lime. Make sure it's nice and flat. And then you're going to take your pipette bottle and drop a couple drops of bitters in there. About 4 drops of Angostura bitters are perfectly fine for this. Next, go ahead and grab your torch. Go ahead and start working it over the sugar until it starts to caramelize. Make sure you get it all nice and melted. Once it starts bubbling and you see it start to brown, you're ready to go. Once you've done that, go ahead and place that in the fridge. It'll take about 30 seconds or so before it gets nice and hard in the fridge so that you can take it off. And this is the time that you're going to go ahead and make your cocktail. Now this, like I said, works great for tiki drinks, but we're going to show you how it sits nice on a drink with a nice foam that we did here. I actually did kind of a riff on a whiskey sour using some rum because I figured the caramel sugar would taste better with it. So here's what you do. Once you made your cocktail, go ahead and pour that out. Once you're done with that, go ahead and gently lift the caramelized sugar off of the lime, place it directly over the center of the glass, and simply let it go. And I specify that you do it that way because sometimes if you try to gently layer it into the cup, then it can slip and then it gets like half in versus just dropping it like it's hot and it falls perfectly in the center and it sits on top of the foam and you see the entire thing. And that is the candied caramelized sugar garnish. Now for our final trick, admittedly, it is not as easy as the other 5. It actually does take a little bit of practice before you get it right, but I promise you that it is well worth it in the end because of the overall showmanship and guest experience that comes with making this. And I call it the fire and ice, and you're about to see why in a second. For this one though, you're going to need some crushed ice in addition to some of the other tools that we mentioned, and you're going to need a citrus press. First things first, you want to prepare your cocktail and put it off to the side so you can make the rest of the preparation. In this case, I'm going with a shrunken skull tiki cocktail. You can check out this video right here at the end so you can know how to make the shrunken skull. I actually practiced this one and put it in my mixing glass, set it to the side, and then I did the rest of the cocktail. Next, you're going to grab your citrus press and your crushed ice. Now, good rule of thumb, you want to make sure that your citrus press is a little bit bigger than the mouth of the glass you're going to be using, because we're going to be taking that crushed ice and creating a cap. Now, you want to make sure that you have some really fine pieces of ice, such as the regular crushed ice that comes from your fridge, or if you use one of those grinding machines or something like that, you really want to probably put it in a bag and pound it out to make really fine pieces, just so that when you put it in the citrus press and squeeze, it fuses together nicely and makes a nice cap. Now, you're going to fill that up to the top, squeeze down as hard as you can, hold that for about 10 to 15 seconds, and then you're going to lay that to the side. Next part moves pretty fast. Grab your glass, put a little bit of overproof rum in your glass, and light that on fire. I would say no more than about an ounce. Take your torch, give that a light, and then you're going to go ahead, add a couple dashes of your cinnamon or your nutmeg to the glass. I prefer to use cinnamon for this particular recipe. Then you're going to pour your pre-done cocktail into the glass. Now, you want to make sure that you don't out the flame when you're doing this. Worst case scenario, you just light it again. Once that's done, go ahead and take that ice cap out of the citrus press and place it on top of the glass. The heat from the glass is going to start creating this smoking, steaming effect on the inside of the glass that will slowly fall down into the cocktail. And then once that's done, you just go ahead, tap the glass a couple times, the ice will fall in, give it a stir, and you are all set with this fire and ice, shrunken skull in this case, riff. And those are my 6 easy fire tricks for cocktails. Now, if you're looking for the best training to take your bartending skills to the next level, go ahead and head over to barprints.co and check out the products and programs we have over there. You can kickstart your training right now by going down to the description and downloading our free PDF, the Barprints cheat sheet to quickstart your cocktail game. If you found this video helpful, and I really hope you have, don't forget to give it a like, share it with your friends, helps the channel out way more than you know. And for more great bartending tips, tricks, videos, and tutorials, go ahead and check out these videos right here. Thanks a lot for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.